Chefs of Reddit, what is that one dish on the menu you absolutely hate making? Our German apple pancake. First you sauté Granny Smiths in clarified butter. Then add 3 ladles of our German batter into sauté pan. Throw in oven for 15 minutes. Remove from oven and add clarified butter and cinnamon sugar. Flip delicate pancake with spatula and a dash of learning curve. Return to oven and cook 5 more minutes. Flip pancake onto plate and ensure it makes it to the table in less than a minute as it deflates rapidly. Bonus points for when it's ordered 10 minutes before we close. Edit. Those who are apologizing for ordering it, don't, it's our job. Kitchen staff are gluttons for punishment. Holy shit, this sounds good. I'm so sorry. Slightly different take, but I was a chef at a nursing home and anything pureed for people who are on that dietary restriction was gross to me. I literally had to take whatever meal I made, throw in a blender and put it in a bowl. I always felt so bad. When and where? Here in Australia the pureed meals are all separated. So broccoli, carrot, potato, risole all in little mounds. Customizing the soups. I used to work at a Michelin star restaurant. We already have the soups prepared before you walk in. I can't just take out the shrimp taste of a paella soup that I prepped before you walked in here. WTF, do people not realize that it takes hours to make the stuff, even something as light as consommé? Like every time I look into making chicken soup for someone sick, almost every recipe is like, you need to do this 8 hours before dinner. Not a chef but a butcher, and I can't even begin to express how much I loathe crap like ham salad and chicken salad. I love when new customers come in for the first time, but my heart always sinks when they say, I heard this place has great ham salad. Sorry, but if you like ham salad it's all gonna be great, because what you actually like is an obscene amount of mayonnaise and sweet relish. As a butcher, are you allowed to sell pig heads? I know it's kind of a weird question, but a few years ago my cousin tried to get a fresh pig head and the butcher told her it wasn't legal. Also, how do you feel if a customer asks you for fresh blood? Same cousin asked for blood for making homemade blood sausage. Worked in a sandwich shop for a bot in college. Not fine dining by any stretch of the imagination, but a couple steps above Subway. Every time someone ordered a PB&J off the kids menu we had to clear off both lines, change our gloves, wipe down every surface the peanut butter got close to, and wash the knife we used to cut it. Like, I get it. But having to treat peanut butter like nuclear waste in the middle of a lunch rush was never fun. Plus, the peanut butter was too thick for the bread we used for the PB&J, so the bread ended up tearing half the time. We had Muslim customers ask us to wash a pizza cutter and pan that was used for pepperoni pizza. Slows down the line some, but not as bad. A single crumb of peanut can kill you, whereas Islam is more about the intent. If a believer who makes effort to avoid pork accidentally gets a drop of pepperoni grease in his pizza, it's not a sin. Not that I'm lax about it. I wash a Muslim's pan before I make his pizza as well as I'd wash my own pan at home. But I'd wash a peanut allergen's knife as if it had ricin on it. I used to work at McDonald's. Years ago we had this promotional burger we called the lean beef burger. It was aimed at people who wanted to be more healthy, haha. Normally the meat patties are cooked on the grill, but this one was nuked in the microwave. When it was heated, it looked grey, and it smelled so putrid no one wanted to work near the microwave so they wouldn't have to smell it. When the McRib first dropped the sauce was so fragrant it would give you headaches. It was like getting smacked in the face with a barbecue Yankee candle. Usually depends on how the kitchen is run. If your menu is designed for your kitchen, it's no problem. If it's designed for twice the space, cooking surfaces and cooks, it's going to run like shit and there's gonna be multiple items that halt production. Haven't I seen you on Kitchen Nightmares before? That's almost literally the only thing Gordon Ramsay ever does in any restaurant besides some cheap redecorating is make their menu actually work. On every menu lies an item that no one ever orders, so you never really prepare for it. Yet, without warning or explanation, this asshole item gets ordered right in the middle of dinner rush, completely fucking up service. Also, those dishes that have 15 steps and 20 ingredients and that mise en place is kept 2 stations down. Note to self, if I ever own a restaurant, let the staff vote an item off the menu regularly. Calamari. If you worked in a restaurant cleaning them and prepping them to cook you would know. They come with all kinds of crap in them and they smell terrible when spoiled raw. Never again. I made calamari from scratch WABF when I was 19. After gutting MACET, I have never done it again. I don't even eat it. Fuck calamari. When someone is just big enough to be able to get away ordering off the menu. I worked at a restaurant that had a few local celebrities and business owners that would order off menu. It always felt like it was for show. A power move designed to let others know how important they thought they were. I heard that they stopped letting them order off menu with the new manager. In a busy steakhouse restaurant on a Friday night they would order things like an omelette. It wasn't impossible to do but rather inconvenient. Charcuterie boards. Stuff falling off all over the place. I love calling them meat and cheese platters to watch people thinking they're fancy faces. Such joy. Worked at a kitchen after high school. Some guy orders fucking lobster on Valentine's Day and we were this low mid-range fish and chips chain where high school kids hung out and the most fancy thing most people ordered was probably swordfish collar. We didn't even know we had lobster in the menu. I remember the head chef swearing and actually taking out the restaurant's recipe book to see what was needed. We actually didn't have some of the ingredients and we had to send one of the cooks out to take a cab to the next outlet a few streets down to pick up the stuff. The rest of us dug through the freezer and actually found lobster that we didn't know we had. Cooking it was pretty much referencing the recipe book all the way. On hindsight it was hilarious. Why would you order lobster at a restaurant like this? The head chef was pissed as hell the rest of the day. Would it not have just been easier to say you didn't have it? Sauté shrimp pretty much blows. They release a lot of water which explodes when it hits the hot oil. So you get a lot of burns. Sometimes oil hits you in the face. It sucks. But whatever, you cook the shrimp and get on with it. We out here getting fatalistic about these shrimp. I hand make pierogi for my food truck, and they are a pain in the ass. Making 1 or 2 batches is annoying, but making enough for a commercial operation completely sucks. The dough I use doesn't have water in it, just egg and sour cream, so the gluten doesn't form into very strong bonds. That means that I can't use a pasta roller to make sheets of dough to cut into dumpling skins. I have to hand roll everything with a rolling pin, and my work surface is big enough to roll out an entire batch. Last week after making pierogi for a couple hours, I raised the price in our point of sale system by another $1 because fuck pierogi. Chef in my own pizza restaurant. It brings me immense pleasure to serve my customers, each and every one of them. However, when someone orders something entirely veggie I have to spend time cleaning all my surfaces and equipment. Takes a bit of time, but hey. Vegetarian for some 45 years. You don't have to do this for me. If I find a stray piece of ham I'll just pluck it off. It's meat, not plutonium. Making crepes, and boning quail for pate, things young chefs do in training. Mind-numbing. Yeah, about those crepes, so many of you mention the finished product, filled, etc., or using a crepe maker. I'm talking about making them in a pan, in large amounts, like a big catered event where you have hours pouring and flipping. Beyond boring. When I was young, like 15 or 16 I had a summer guard manger job at a fine dining restaurant. We had a starter salad that had a pan-fried semi-boneless quail on it. The chef ordered in pre-boned quail. One day I made the mistake of asking how they got the bones out. A couple days later I came in to find a case of bone-in quail in my station. And that happened every few days for the rest of the summer. In the kitchen I'm currently working I don't have a specific dish that is annoying, more the combination of different dishes or when people want to change their order. It's the worst on the days you are alone in the kitchen. If each person in a big group orders a different dish on the menu it's gonna take some extra time to do that compared to them just having 3 different dishes. The shit show is when everyone has a specific modification to their order. And it's not all the same modification. With that there are sometimes people who will argue that, since I removed lettuce from my dish I should get an extra order of bacon for free. A chef I used to work with used to always say, it's a menu, not a list of ingredients, whenever the waitstaff would come in with orders like that. I used to work at a grocery store and I was the person who made all those pre-cut fruit boxes. I didn't particularly mind any of them all that much except clementines. We had to peel clementines and put them in a box. First, it was a huge waste because no one ever bought them, Why would you pay $5 for 6 peeled clementines when you could buy a whole bag unpeeled for the same price, except for old people who couldn't peel the fruit themselves, and secondly because the acid would eat through our gloves and then destroy our nails and leave orange smell on your fingers for days. The only other thing I hated making was 5 mix. We have a mixture called 6 mix, which is just 6 different kinds of fruit together, but this one guy would come in and ask for 6 mix without the cantaloupe in it. We actually started calling him 5 mix. When he walked in, someone from a different department would ring us and let us know 5 mix was there and to start making some 5 mix. I hated it because when he asked we'd have to go get a whole watermelon, a whole honeydew, and 3 other fruits and cut them all up just so he could have like 5 cut up pieces of each instead of just eating around the cantaloupe. And he always showed up right as our department was starting to close down for the night too. So we had to rewatch all our surfaces after 5 mix came in. As someone with a severe cantaloupe allergy, it would never occur to me to ask an employee to make me a special mix. I would just buy the fruit and cut it up myself, or just deal with not buying it. Sorry you had to put up with that weirdo. When I was working as a waiter, we had one customer who we called the spaghetti lady. She came in 1 to 2 times per week for lunch. She always ordered spaghetti with sauce on the side, salad with pepperoncini and ranch on the side, Coke, no ice, breadsticks, no butter. She camped for 1.5 hours, then stiffed the tip. Lunch was always a nothing shift, so tying up 1/4 top for all of lunch killed the whole shift. Most of it was side work, but the breadsticks were a huge pain. Chain restaurants aren't really built for special orders, they break the rhythm like a car slamming on the brakes on a highway. I had a very similar lady at my old place we called Salad Lady. She would pay for a large chicken Caesar salad, but she only wanted a small bowl of the lettuce with the very thick Caesar sauce on the side, croutons on the side, and chicken on a separate plate as well, same Coke no ice, and a cup of soup, hot soup. If she didn't finish it in time, we would have to take her cup back and reheat it, OBV pre-COVID. She also spent about 2 hours in a specific booth she would wait during lunch rush hour to get if it was taken. And then leave a $1 tip. We used to pawn her off on the new servers, but I got sick of hearing them all complain about her, so I just started taking her regularly. It was simple because I knew her order and I could almost have it all ready for her by the time she was seated. She ended up being a very sweet old lady who eventually bumped my tip up to 1.50. Oh, the joys of food service. I mean hospitality industry Hollandaise. As much as I love eating it, it is such a hassle making it. Like 20 minutes whisking. I took cooking classes for 6 months, they taught us to make it by hand and suffer, and then the chef said, now you know, but in real life we always make it like this, and took out the blender, ha 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 ha. Ravioli, because we had to hand make each individual one, took absolutely ages. SMH. You didn't have the formulae. Rookie mistake. Not necessarily a dish, but for people who lie about allergens. Had one woman who was allergic to onions, so didn't want any onion gravy, went out to speak to her as it was a pretty unique allergy to have. Told her that the nut roast she ordered also contained onions. Oh, it's fine. I just don't really like onions. Can I have the gravy without onions in? So not only completely lying about an allergy, but also wasting my time during a busy service. People like this make people like me who have legitimate weird food allergies feel like an asshole. Not a chef, but when I worked for a Chinese restaurant, the chef there hated mushu anything, he always had to cut up the cabbage to order. So as a server, whenever they pissed me off at the front, I go ahead and tell the customers how great our mushu is that day, and we get practically everyone trying it. Then I would hear the kitchen people cursing everyone out and their mother lol. I waited tables when I was in college. I absolutely hated when certain foods were ordered because I knew it was going to take a long time. One of the worst offenders was a charbroiled oyster appetizer that had butter, breadcrumbs, and cheese on top. It took about 12 to 15 minutes to hit the table, and that is an eternity for an appetizer. Edit. The restaurant I was working in at the time usually had apps on the table in less than 10 minutes, so this app was longer than most, but different restaurants are going to have different appetizer timing and may take longer. What? 12 to 15 is an eternity? How quick do you usually get them out? I thought around 20 minutes wait for any course is pretty standard. Quick even. I worked as a chef for a long time. I worked in a cafe in a really sort of rich area. We had a few people who were CEOs of big companies in my city, My boss treated this one guy like royalty even though he was a slimy piece of shit. He would always make him an egg white omelette with various vegetables. Something that was absolutely not on the menu. We only offered fried, scrambled or poached eggs. One day the boss didn't work in the kitchen anymore and lo and behold, that asshole guy came back asking for his omelette and the manager asked me to make it. It was in the midst of a very busy rush on a Saturday. Fuck that guy. He owns Cotton On and even though I know it doesn't impact anything, I refuse to buy from them.
Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.